Hello everybody, and welcome to my review of Palworld. It's very unlikely that you haven't heard of this game at this point, but you may be wondering, is it any good? Now, I'll be reviewing the Game Pass version specifically because there are some minor differences between the Game Pass and Steam version. I believe Steam is the version that's on a newer build, since I believe updating games on Steam is much easier than on consoles. Let me start by saying this. This game is in early access, so it's very common to encounter bugs. However, the dev team seems to be actually pretty responsive on these issues, and it makes me pretty hopeful. First, I want to talk about the issues the game currently has. I play the game primarily co-op with my friends. Issue is that, as of right now, the servers are pretty strained. At launch, that meant occasionally the game wouldn't let you load worlds in co-op. However, the issue has since been fixed. I bring that up since it gives me hope that they're actually dedicated to fixing up the game and making it better. Now, unlike with the Steam version, there are no dedicated servers at the moment. So you're capped at 4 players maximum, which kinda sucks, especially because that means you have to constantly have someone hosting the world, which isn't really viable since the game, at least in co-op, is very prone to crashing every 1 to 2 hours of extended play. There's also been a new bug that we found out and has unfortunately stopped our playthrough, but I will post all of the video I have recorded for that. If you leave a guild, it will corrupt the save data of every other player that is not currently online. Now, I don't know if that's specifically for the members of the guild, or if that's for everyone that's not on the world. So, right now, don't leave guilds. Now, back to the main point. Some minor annoyances on top of that are that you can't change your guild name, your player name, or your pal names. However, this seems to only be an issue with the Game Pass version, as on Steam, you can change those. A bigger issue for me is that occasionally, at least in co-op, your pals seem to glitch out and will just idle even when they're in fight. I have played a bit more co-op, so this does happen a little more often. It's way less often in solo, but it's happened a couple times in solo. They basically just lose their walking animation, will just teleport while following you. It's a pain because it can end up getting you killed, and it's a really annoying way to die. One thing I would like is for lucky pals to have a different color scheme. The size difference and the rare trait are really cool, which has since been renamed from rare to lucky, but it doesn't feel quite as cool as finding a shiny Pokemon, for example. Just a personal preference thing, I guess. Also, recently, just started getting an issue where my pals would all get stuck next to the pal box. It would starve and incapacitate themselves. Even though I picked them up to move them, when I dropped them, they would just clip under the map. The only fix seemed to be just reload the game. And the pathing AI for the pals also feels really inconsistent because they just get stuck on stuff randomly and starve themselves. Wild pals also occasionally just idle and glitch out so they don't move or fight back. It's kinda weird. I assume most of the issues are caused by co-op servers being overloaded and causing things to malfunction, but I haven't played enough solo to determine whether or not that's the case. This point has since been changed, actually. It doesn't happen nearly as much in solo, but it has happened once or twice in my playthrough so far. If you noticed, pretty much all of those issues are just bugs that will likely get fixed in the future. Which brings me to all the positives. First off, I very much enjoy the game. Despite all the bugs, I and many other people have been having a ton of fun. Now, there are 3 different ways to obtain a pal. First of which is obviously craft a pal sphere and beat up a pal and catch it. You can also just find pal spheres lying around the world. The second of which is to free a pal from the syndicate bases or the free alliance bases. You simply go to the cage and interact and release it. It is then counted as if you had caught a pal. The last of which, and the least likely way you're going to get your first pal, is through eggs. You can find eggs of different typings ranging from normal size to large to huge, and I believe there are even massive eggs. I assume those are for legendaries or something like that. The aspect of finding eggs around the map is actually really cool to me, since it feels like a mini gacha game that you don't have to drop tons of money into. Just time. You put an egg into an incubator, and a timer pops up and tells you when the egg will be ready. The timer can also be changed with custom settings, which is really convenient. The game has 111 pals at release. That might not sound a lot, but nothing evolves, which means that that's just 111 different pals to catch, and I don't think that's counting the variants. Oh, yeah, the game has Delta species style variants. These variants will always have some sort of term at the end of their name. It'll be a sort of suffix. Those terms being Botan meaning grass, Lux meaning electric, Aqua meaning water, Ignis meaning fire, Terra meaning ground, Crist meaning ice, and those are the only ones I've encountered so far. So if I missed one, I apologize. Another thing I nearly forgot is the type chart. There are 9 different types. Water, fire, grass, electric, ground, ice, dark, dragon, and neutral. The weaknesses are quite different from the chart you'd expect from Pokemon, but with some similarities. Grass beats ground, ground beats electric, electric beats water, water beats fire, Fire beats grass and ice, making it the only type that's super effective against more than one other. Ice beats dragon, dragon beats dark, dark beats neutral, and neutral beats nothing. However, something interesting is the moves that the pals can learn are not restricted by their typing. They can learn any move as long as you have the right TM, or fruit as they are in this, to teach them. The eggs you find around the map will have a different typing assigned to them as well, with dragon seeming to be the rarest. You can also get eggs from breeding, which is kind of an interesting matter, as it seems that each pal has a different number value assigned to them. So the way the breeding appears to work is that it will take the two breeding pair, average out their number or something like that, and you'll get whatever pal is matching that number. So if you breed two completely different pals, you will pretty much never get one of them as the offspring. It'll always be some random other pal. Unless you're breeding two of the same pal, that's the only case in which you will get, their offspring. So it's a pretty interesting breeding method, and it's kind of fun to mess around with. There are also some special breeding pairs, but I'm not going to go into those because those are kind of fun to experiment with, and I don't want to spoil any of that. Once you have your pal, you're probably going to want to make a base, which is exactly what the pal box is. I recommend placing it near ore deposits or just in an open, flat area. If you can get both, that's ideal, since you're going to need room to build, and building can be a bit wonky with elevation and all that. The pal box basically just works like a PC from Pokemon would. You can store pals in the box, and you can even set the pals to work on the base. Although only certain pals can work on certain jobs, which you can examine on their stats on the bottom right. Something I think the game does well is rewarding exploration. It's a lot of fun to just ride around on a pal and explore the map. You'll oftentimes find eggs, pal souls, and chests, which can be really good for stocking up on spheres. There are also tons of world bosses and dungeons around the map, and I hope they end up adding some more diversity to the dungeons. As of right now, they all seem very similar to each other, with just some differing pals in the dungeons. And also there's always a lot of Syndicate guys in there, which is really weird. The dungeons have timers before they disappear, but they also reappear every few hours. They're pretty good for money farming and material farming for ancient parts. I also really enjoy the combat system, when it's functioning properly. In Palworld, you can either fight while on your mount, or you can just send out a pal to fight alongside you, while you attack or avoid the attacks of the wild pal. I also feel that the game has a really good sense of progression, with your base being upgradable, you having levels where you unlock more and more crafting recipes, world bosses on the map that you can run and take down in order to mark them off the map. If you even want to just play and build up your base and be ready in case you get raided, because, yeah, there are NPC raids of pals, Syndicate members, and Free Alliance members. It's kind of cool. I really enjoy Palworld because it's genuinely just the closest thing to my perfect game, meaning it hits on most of the aspects I love about games. The survival aspect, the feeling of getting more powerful and feeling yourself progress in the game, the collection aspect and all the pals, which is just one of the biggest reasons I love Pokemon so much, and the fact that the pals actually work alongside you. I know I see a lot of stuff about you can enslave pals and people and all that, but you can genuinely just play the game in a way that's just casual and have your pals build alongside you. I enjoy the designs of all the pals too, although there are some very similar designs to Pokemon. But there's also just a lot of designs that people claim are too similar to actual Pokemon that are just kind of stretches. Like, bro, it's a sheep. Literally both based on Anubis. And okay, this one's pretty close to Cobalion. Regardless, most of them have a very different charm to them, and honestly feel more reminiscent of Digimon. Also, yeah, I concluded that the game version on Steam runs so much better than the version on Game Pass. It's still playable on both, and solo definitely feels less buggy on console, as opposed to all the glitches I've encountered in the co-op. I'm sorry if I missed any important aspects. I did my best to cover all the aspects I could think of. I really enjoy the game, and if you have Game Pass, then I see no downside to trying the game out. They also released a roadmap for all the things they hope on adding in the future, and I'm hopeful for the future of this game too. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and please be sure to like and subscribe if you did, and have a great rest of your day. Adios.